I'd like to bring up Adrian. Adrian is the chief architect at Ably. We've got James Bush, our engineering director at the Module Foundation, and then Vicente Catudio. I see Adrian, James, looking for Vicente, for Vice, sorry.
Yeah, I'll be presenting for Vice.
All right, excellent. James, I will hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Simeon. Let me just share my slides. Can you confirm my slides are visible?
Yep. Yes, they are.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm just going to make sure I can see the chat window and if any hands get raised as well. So, hi everybody, nice to see so many people here today. I'm going to talk about the performance white paper in the context of the broader performance work stream that's been running for several PIs now. So this work stream runs under our quality product pillar. The objective of the work stream is to understand how the Moduloop platform performs under various different conditions in order to guide engineering efforts to improve efficiency, but also to help users, people who want to use Moduloop to build payment platforms, to make informed decisions about how to size their infrastructure, how much infrastructure you might need to achieve a certain performance target, for instance. So over the past PI, we've been working on producing a white paper. The white paper will present the results of a number of test activities, which have been run over the last PI. Those test activities cover a number of different deployment scenarios and scheme architectures. We're expecting to publish this white paper in Q3, in the current quarter this year. There's a fairly extensive test plan, which is linked here from the slide deck. So after all the presentations today, we'll be sharing these documents. You'll be able to follow these document links to see the test plan that we've been executing and our rather busy and complex test matrix, which specifies the various scheme architectures and deployment scenarios that we're testing. It's a very ambitious test plan. There are an awful lot of scenarios we want to cover. So we've prioritized them because, for example, in the cloud, it's quite costly to run a performance test. So we've prioritized certain scenarios for our cloud and certain other scenarios for our on-prem testing, where cost isn't quite such a problem. In a second, I'll hand over to Adrian to talk about the testing that's happened in his world. But I would like to say thanks to AWS, who have been very generous and given us a whole bunch of cloud credits to spend to generate the data in support of this white paper. And also thanks to Infotech, who've been doing a lot of performance testing and optimization in the background. So I'll stop sharing right now and hand over to Adrian so he can tell you what's been going on in his world.
Thanks, James. Okay, let me just share my screen. So yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for having us here. I'm Adrian again, so Ably's chief architect. So I'm just going to talk about really quick preliminary performance test. We just recently upgraded to Moduloop 17 last week. So we had to upgrade from our previous installation of Moduloop 16. So yeah. I'll just talk through what Ably is. So we're a payments infrastructure fintech in the Philippines. Our aim is to democratize payments in the Philippines. Basically have three goals: is to provide a secure low-cost payment rail with the use of Moduloop. We also want to to simplify onboarding for financial institutions, fintechs, and startups, and of course to enable broader financial access through open finance. Here's a high-level architecture of what we wanted to do. What's currently deployed right now is Moduloop only. We don't have the risk and fraud management, the middleware, and the settlements reconciliation part. We only have Moduloop running right now. In terms of the setup or the testing plan that we kind of broken up into two scopes. One is for two to 8 DFSPs doing transfers to each other's. We did only a static pairing on them. Also, the infrastructure is not scaling. We wanted to see it fail to the point where we drop requests and see what's the breaking point. And also we're looking at like 1,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 transactions per second. On our round 2, we're looking at dynamic pairing along with auto scaling as well. So this is the current setup that we currently have. It's just really like a small cluster that we have. We have T3 mediums, which acts as our management work pool. So you have your Prompt Stack, Kubernetes dashboard, Cert Manager, and Ingress Nginx. We only have 2 EC2s running right now. Then for Moduloop, for the namespace itself, we have 8 replicas running for the account lookup service, 5 for the coding, 5 for the ML API adapter, and 5 for the central ledger. For supporting handlers, they're also scaled as well. For external services, what we currently use is MSK provisioned using a M7G large. For our database, we use MySQL using a T3 X large. So again, for round 1, no HPA auto scaling is applied, no resource request limits on the pods. For deployment, we are using EKS. We are in AWS using Terraform and Helm. Again, the test scenarios is basically look up a PA account, look up a pair account, initiate the transfer, and initiate the coding, then perform the transfer. For the load testing, we're using K6 within the EKS cluster, but it's deployed in a separate node pool. So yeah. So here's our initial results. We haven't gotten through 10,000 transactions per second right at this moment. We're still working on it, but we have some initial results for 1,000 and 4,000. By the looks of it, there's no system failures that we're experiencing right now for 1,000 transactions per minute. Per second. Majority of the slowness that we see is on the account lookup service, but that may be because we have a single node RDS. We don't have Aurora. In terms of when we got to 4,000 transactions per second, we saw some drop rates on our NLB. So we are trying to address that issue because again, it's not Moduloop's problem. It's actually on our infrastructure. Other than that, pretty much we didn't see any system failure in terms of the load that we're giving. We are really excited to go over to see what we have for 10,000 transactions per second, and also once we do the 8 DF the SSP. For our next step is basically what we're looking for round 2 is essentially the auto scaling, the assignment, and also applying Chaos Mesh for chaos engineering. We want to see how the infrastructure or the code will react once we introduce errors to the entire system. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adrian. We'll possibly allow some time for people to ask questions at the end. If that's okay with you, Simeon, I'll switch back to sharing my slides. Some very, very good data points there. Thanks, Adrian. So just before I talk about where we're going next, I'll talk a little bit more about some of the detail of our test plan. You will have seen the test matrix looking quite complicated. What we've done is set out 18 different scheme configuration scenarios with various numbers of different size DFSPs with different kind of traffic profiles. And then we've specified a number of loads and transaction mix scenarios. We've basically created an n-dimensional matrix of those. So we'll test every scheme architecture under all of the different normal conditions and degraded conditions and soak test conditions. That's a very large number of tests, and it will take quite a long time for us to execute those. So it's likely that the first published version of the white paper will include just the top 5 or 6 of those, the most important ones that we've determined. But we will continue to iterate the model as the data points come in. So please keep your eyes on the performance workstream reports as they come in over the next 6 months. I will just show you a little bit of detail of how we're planning these scenarios. So each test scenario starts with a plan for a scheme configuration. This one you can see, I hope it's not too small. There is a link to it in the deck. So after the event today, if you want to go and have a look at this, these are all publicly shared, these documents. You can have a look and read the detail. But we basically set out an architecture for a scheme, in this case with 8 DFSPs, 2 large ones. You might imagine those being large mobile money providers, and 6 smaller DFSPs, possibly MFIs or SACCOs or fintechs. And we've defined a traffic shape, a traffic mix, with different percentages of the load moving from various DFSPs to other DFSPs in the scheme. And that's how we're defining our scenarios. We turn those into K6 test scripts, execute them, and capture all the data points from the considerable amount of instrumentation that's present in the Moduleap code base, and then we'll correlate those results and use them to define a model that will make performance predictable over different infrastructure scales. Oh, so one of the axes I should talk about in here is the infrastructure. So you will have seen Adrian talk about how they're using a couple of relatively small EC2 instances. So our plan is to start small like that, and gradually increase the number of nodes in the various worker pools and the number of instances of the services. Execute the test, capture the data, so we can see what effect the underlying hardware has on the observed throughput and the percentiles on the latency through the system, etc. We'll construct a model that will be published in the white paper. So for the rest of the coming PI, so until our next community meeting, we will be working on completing those performance tests and capturing the data, both in the cloud. We'll be burning the rest of our available AWS credits, and any more we can find in the meantime as well. Plus, we'll be doing a considerable amount of on-premises testing in our new Moduleap Foundation test lab. And as I said before, we're targeting publishing the first iteration of the white paper Q3. So before the end of Q3, you can expect that to be published. When that happens, we will announce it on all the usual Moduleap channels. So keep your eyes open for that. Oh yeah, thanks. I just saw your note, Megan, that all of these videos will be published on YouTube. Once they've been post-processed, they'll be available for everybody to watch again. Going beyond PI 28, this workstream has some higher level objectives. The most important of which is to introduce end-to-end performance testing results into our release notes. So Sam talked a lot about the Moduleap release process, and you will have seen, I think, that it's quite a comprehensive process with a number of steps around quality and security. But one thing that we would like to see added to that, once we get beyond this white paper, goal is to introduce that same set of performance tests, or possibly a prioritized set of performance tests, into that release process. So along with the release note, we'll also be publishing the performance and SOAP test results as well. So over a number of releases, we'll be able to see, track, and correlate the performance of the platform overall. Secondary to that objective, we're also going to introduce performance testing in our CI pipelines. In the first instance, just around the Moduloop core components. Right now, it's up to individual engineers, individual developers, to performance test their changes on their local machines, to understand whether they're introducing slowdowns or speed ups as part of their normal day-to-day maintenance or feature changes. We'd like to make that part of our standard CI process. So everybody who makes a pull request will receive in their pull request reports, the same way we do with our unit testing and integration testing and security scan performance report. So before you merge a PR, you'll be able to understand its impact on the performance of that component. I did mention the Moduloop Foundation now has a test lab. It's still under construction. There's a quick photo of it. It's 5 one-generation-old enterprise servers, kind of mid-level, with enough grunt to run several Moduloop platforms and all the load generation as well that we might need. Once we're through with using it for this round of performance testing, we hope to make this lab available to community members for feature testing and development efforts as well. So keep your eyes open for some announcements on that. I'm conscious we only had 15 minutes allocated for this, and I'm not sure how many of those I've used. So my final slide, Simeon. I know you asked Sam to talk about how people can get involved. Well, this work stream, like all our work streams, open to anybody who wants to join and participate. We have a Slack channel, WS Performance, on the Moduloop Slack. We have a weekly meeting on Zoom every Monday at 3 p.m. UTC. Feel free to reach out to me on Slack or via email, and I'll add you to that invite. We also maintain a comprehensive set of working notes from all our meetings. So we have meeting minutes from all of the meetings that have happened so far in the PI, and historically. We have all the various links to the documentation artifacts as well. I know some people might not be super comfortable with the Google Docs links here, but all of these documents are available in PDF or Word, should anybody request them on Slack as well. So thanks for listening, everybody. I've tried to keep my eye on the chat. I don't see any questions. Let me just catch up.
I think there's just one final question. Adrian was answering Miller in the chat. Adrian, do you want to take that very last one from Miller?
Oh yeah, I'm actually chatting with him right now. I'm writing my answers. So.
All right. James, then you can wrap up.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Those results. Thanks for that, Adrian. Yeah. There's a lot to unpick in all of the test results, actually. Okay. Back over to you, Simeon. Then thanks, everybody.